I've built the ultimate AI agent using the AG2 framework, formerly known as autogen, and I'm very excited to share it with you guys. This is going to be kind of a longer video in which I'm going to share with you an actually useful agent that I've been building in the last few days. This agent helps me as if it's a personal assistant. It has many functionalities such as sending emails, updating files in the drive, updating Trello board, scraping, crawling websites, finding leads, etc. I'm going to cover everything in the video. And basically the purpose of this video is to show you how I've built this agent, dive into the nitty-gritty of how I believe you can optimize your process of building stuff when you're using an AI coding assistant. In my case, it was Windsurf, but it's relevant for you guys if you're using Corsair or WooCode or Klein or anything else. Share my takeaways, what I've learned, and obviously discuss what are the implications of having an agent that is actually useful. Before we dive into the workflow, let's give a bit of a context. So basically, what is an AI agent? An AI agent is just a software system that can autonomously execute tasks and interacts with the environment to achieve specific goals. So in opposing to using just an LLM, when you're just chatting with, let's say, ChatGPT or Anthropic's Claude, an AI agent can do a sequence of tasks in opposing to a Claude or OpenAI, in which you ask it a question or request something and then it responds to you. But it can go and do a sequence of tasks at the moment yet. So as you can see here, I've written, unlike simple chatbots that respond to queries, AI agents can proactively manage processes such as scheduling, web searches, data analysis, often integrate with other software tools, APIs, which I've did a lot in this video and I'm going to share it with you, and have complete multi-steps. And also when you build a team of agents, they can interact between each other. Every agent has specific system message, which means like a specialty or attributes, and every agent can have specific functions or abilities, and this makes this whole thing way more powerful. Now, there are some common misconceptions about agents, so let's cover all of them. I've used our friend ChatGPT in order to generate this. Whenever I'm trying to learn or teach a concept, I always like, first of all, clarifying that I wanted to explain as if I'm in eighth grade, and also use an analogy. So let's go over a few misconceptions about agents. So the first misconception is that they are just glorified chatbots. So while a basic chatbot is designed to answer predefined questions like an FAQ page, an AI agent is built to take autonomous actions such as booking appointments, managing tasks, or even shopping online. So as I said, an AI agent can do a sequence of actions. They are completely autonomous. This is also a misconception, and this is very important to understand. So many people have this misconception or misalignment of expectations, that they think that AI agents can come and solve everything, but it's incorrect. Actually, this is also an incorrect hypothesis that people have about automations. Automations are never set and forget. Automations are always a work in progress. They amplify your strategic thinking, and they amplify your processes, make them faster, more scalable, but they always require optimization. Something always breaks. So this is also something that is relevant for agents, especially at the moment in which the models, for example, the most powerful models at the moment are O3 Mini, O3 by OpenAI, and 3.5 Sonnet by Claude, and R1 by DeepSeek. So these models are still not 100% reliable, and they still make a lot of mistakes. So as a derivative of this, since the agents are going to use these models, agents are not completely autonomous yet. So many people imagine that AI agents will operate entirely on their own. In reality, most current AI agents are semi-autonomous. They work well on routine tasks when they have like predefined conditions, but still rely on human guidance to handle unexpected situations or correct errors. So an analogy, consider an autopilot on an airplane. It can handle routine flying, but pilots remain in control for emergencies or unusual circumstances. This is the same with agents. Another misconception is some people believe that they will replace humans entirely and cause massive job losses. I'm not going to dive into this too much because this is more like a prediction, or trying to predict the future. This is not my thing, but I believe that AI agents will amplify what we do. Yeah, some of the jobs will become irrelevant because they can be completely substituted by AI agents, but I don't think that AI agents will completely remove us from the workforce. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but this is just my assumption. Let's see a few more misconceptions. So this relates to what I said before. AI agents don't always deliver correct results. Actually, as I said, you have a few elements in an agentic workflow, and we'll cover them more in detail later on. But first of all, you have the model, which dictates the ability of the AI agents to think. For example, I'm obviously oversimplifying this, and we have the system prompt, we have the description, and we can also add layers of quality assurance. So we can have like many conditions to test whether or not the results are correct. We can add more agents to verify the results. So it's very important to understand that while AI agents are sophisticated, they can still hallucinate, they can still generate inaccurate results, and it's our responsibility to make sure, first of all, to guide them, to give them the most accurate system prompt, and also put guardrails in order to prevent hallucinations or making mistakes. And also afterwards, it is our responsibility within the workflow to make sure that we're doing QA and we're making sure that we're mitigating the amount of mistakes. So misconception, they don't always deliver correct results, and it's also very dangerous to rely on them. The next misconception is they truly understand tasks like humans do. This is obviously incorrect. Although AI agents can simulate understanding by processing vast amounts of data, they don't possess genuine human-like comprehension or intuition. Obviously, this can change with more powerful models in the future. This might be completely wrong. They might be able, this is also kind of a philosophical debate whether they understand or not. I don't really care if they understand the task or not. I just care if they can execute it better than us. At the moment, I don't feel like they can, they can amplify what we do, but they can substitute us and they can do operations from A to Z better than us. This is important to understand. I won't cover this because again, it's a bit of a prediction. It's not my thing. And another misconception is that they are too complex and expensive for everyday use. This is actually very incorrect because, first of all, there are models out there that are pretty cheap and affordable, such as DeepSeek. You can also run AI agents locally with Ollama models. Obviously, you might get worse results. But still, if you consider the utility and how much money they can save us by just scaling our processes and making them faster, they're actually very affordable because it's more expensive to spend time on manual tasks or just doing these processes manually and very slowly. Okay, so before we move on, I would like to invite you to subscribe to my newsletter. It's called No Fluff. You can find it at nofluff.online. I just send out every Monday a few bullet points about interesting stuff that I stumble upon. Highly recommend you to check it out. Moving forward, so how to build effective agents. There is an excellent blog post that was published by Anthropic. I covered this in a different video, and I'm not going to go over all of it, but I just wanted to mention it because I think it's very important that if you guys are interested in learning more about agents, definitely make sure to check out this blog post. And if you want, you can check out the video that I did about it a few days ago. That being said, just a few things that I wanted to cover. So At the moment, many agentic workflows, because of the bottleneck, because of the fact that models are not powerful enough, most of the people, they build an agentic workflow and they place many guardrails because they don't want the agent just to start roaming freely and do stuff. So they give the agents very specific guidelines and very little room or space to do stuff on his own. And it is becoming almost like an RPA process. An RPA process stands for robotic process automation. And in these processes, you just had a bunch of conditions and you told the machine exactly what to do. Now, many agentic workflows these days are exactly like this. They are just prompt chaining. So you take a task, let's say, I want to analyze all the invoices that I've received via email this month, categorize them, place them in a Google spreadsheet, and send all invoices that are greater than 10K to my accountant, and all the rest, I want to just place them in my drive, for example. So this is a very structured process in which we can just use prompt chaining. What does prompt chaining mean? We take a task, we break it down to a sequential steps, and we just send each step to the LLM in order for the LLM to assist us. So for example, in this instance, I can say to the LLM first, my initial prompt would be, please help me fetch all the invoices from the inbox. So after I got the result, my next prompt can be, please take all the invoices that I have downloaded and categorize them into an Excel file. And the next the next step in the sequence can be, all invoices that are above 10K, please send to my accountant. So it just breaking down to many steps. So this is something that you need to understand, the concept of prompt chaining. Another concept is routing. So directing inputs to specialized follow-up processes. So basically, based on different conditions, we can route the conversation or create different routes in the prompt. So let me show you over here. I think they have a very good, yes. So they have a very good workflow or diagram. So we have an LLM called router. Based on what we have here, it's going to route. This can be one prompt, this can be a second prompt, and this can be a third prompt. And they all depend on what we initially have here, like the data that came in. So this is the concept of routing. We have parallelization, which is basically running multiple LLM calls simultaneously. Also, this is pretty straightforward. I'm not going to elaborate about this. Then we have a central LLM that can delegate dynamically defined subtasks to worker LLMs. So this is basically related to the concept of a group of agents. So imagine like you have in an organization, you have like a team leader, and you have a bunch of employees. So you can do the same with a group chat or like a team of agents. You can have like the agent, which is the team leader, let's say a CEO or team leader, as I said, and you can have agents that have specific roles and specific capabilities that he is going to manage or delegate. So this is very important, a very important concept. And another very important concept in building agentic workflows is the concept of evaluator and optimizer. So after we did a process, we can have another agent or even a few agents validate and evaluate the output. So let's say we have a workflow in which we want to write landing page copy. So we can ask an agent to write landing page copy. Let's say we got the output. Instead of me, the human being, going over the output and analyzing it, we can send the output to a specific specialized copywriting critic, and he can analyze the copywriting, the landing page copy, and instead of me analyzing it, it can give inputs and criticism to the initial agent who wrote the copy, and based on this, the initial agent can optimize and make changes to the landing page until the landing page is good enough. So this process can work in a almost infinite loop until the landing page is good enough. And this is very powerful because this the human can be removed from the loop. Both agents, the copywriting agent and the copywriting critique agent, can work together until the landing page is good enough, and only afterwards, when they are happy about the result, they can send it over to me, the person who wanted to build the landing page. So this is a very important concept as well. Moving forward, in order to build my workflow, I've used AG2 and Windsurf. Before I dive into AG2 and Windsurf, I wanted to cover why I didn't use a no-code tool such as Na10. So Na10 is becoming very, very popular these days, and I have nothing against them. I think they are fabulous. It's a drag and drop tool that basically allows you to build workflows. It's kind of similar to make.com, or for those of you who are not familiar, it's like Zapier in a way. But the thing is, I feel that today, and I did a video about this the other day, a few days ago, that there is actually no reason. I mean, sure, there are use cases for using a drag and drop tool such as Na10, but in most instances, I believe that with the AI coding assistants available today, you can just communicate with the large language model and ask it to write code for you using natural language. So you don't need to have any coding specific skill set. You just need to have like enough courage in order to dive into the code and start building and ask questions the LLM whenever you don't understand something and be curious. But if you acquire this skill of coding, quote unquote, you're going to be able to move way faster, and you're going to have almost zero limits eventually. So sure, there is a learning curve to understanding how to code and how to build AI agents in code, in opposing to using no-code tools, but eventually I believe that it makes a lot of sense. Now, AG2 is one of the most famous agentic frameworks out there. Alternatives to AG2 are crewai, LangChain, Pydantic. I might have forgot the rest, but basically AG2, in my opinion, is the most powerful one. I highly recommend that you check it out. They have this GitHub repository. It was formerly known as autogen. As you can see here, they don't have many stars because it was forked from autogen. Autogen has more stars. Make sure to check it out. I think this is the most powerful agentic workflow, agentic framework, and they have very good documentations about how to start to get going with the framework. Obviously, you can also send this documentation to your AI coding assistant in order to learn the framework. They have many use cases over here. They have many notebooks that you can just plug and play, and they have a very good blog in which they cover a lot of innovative research about how to optimize agentic workflows. So if you want to acquire more knowledge about AI agents, I highly recommend that you check this out. So I chose AG2. This is basically how an agentic workflow with a tool looks like in AG2. So obviously we have the imports, but afterwards we have the definitions of the tools. Then we have the agents. Then we have the registration of the tools and the initiation of the conversation. In this instance, we don't have a group chat, we only have two agents. Let me clarify this example just so you understand. So we have a tool that gets the day of the week. Basically, a tool is just a function. Now, I will cover in a few minutes why tools are so valuable. So then we have an agent that is called date agent. His system message is basically you get the day of the week for a given date. Then we have the executor agent, which basically executes the tool. Then we have the registration of the tool. So we just say the caller agent, the agent that requests for the day of the week is going to, that request for using this tool is the date agent, and we have the executor agent, and we have the description, get the day of the week for a given date. Then we initiate the conversation, and the message basically is, I was born on the 25th of March, 1995. What day was it? If we run this code, we will see that the date agent is going to write this. I was born on the 25th of March, 1995. What day was it? And the executor agent is going to use this tool, get weekday, which basically gets the date, and is going to return which day exactly it was. So I think it was a Sunday or Saturday, I don't remember. But this is like the most simple implementation of two agents with one tool. Okay. Besides using AG2, I've used Windsurf. Windsurf is at the moment my favorite AI coding assistant. It's a fork of VS Code. It allows you, this is the website, it's by the company Codium. They have a very good Discord channel as well. Discord channel, Discord server as well. This is how it looks like. As you can see, it's very similar to VS Code. Over here, you can just request whatever you would like from the AI, and it will write the code for you. The great thing about Windsurf is the fact that, in opposing to other tools that I've tried, in my opinion, it has the best understanding of code bases. So even when your code base becomes larger, it doesn't start to hallucinate, and it doesn't mess up the project so much. Obviously, you still need to validate every step, but it's working very well. I highly recommend to check it out. I think it costs like $15 per month. If you're not using Windsurf, you can check out Cursor, obviously, or just use VS Code extensions such as RuCode or Klein. So yeah, so we've used AG2 and we've used Windsurf. Moving forward. So what my agents can do. First of all, it is important to mention that I've used a lot of tools. Using tools in a structured workflow is often preferable because it provides predictability, transparency, and control over the process. Here are some key reasons. So first of all, in a workflow, each step is predefined and controlled. This means you know exactly what each tool will do at each stage, making it easier to ensure the overall task is completely correct and pinpoint where errors might occur. It also makes debugging and maintenance easier. And basically, this is the most important thing to understand. In contrast, when you don't have tools, but you just expect the agents to do whatever they want based on your prompt, if you offer too much flexibility, and since the models are not powerful enough yet, they can start to do stuff not exactly in the way that you wanted. So the tools, the functions, they put guardrails, and they kind of limit what the agents can do, and they also create predictability because these are just functions. You know exactly what you put in, and you know exactly what you are going to get out. So eventually, I would like the flexibility, and if the models were smart enough, I would prefer not defining everything in tools. Now, let me just give you another example of how a tool might look like. So let's say we have this tool. So web automation tools. These are all the tools for web automation that my agent can do. So as you can see here, we have a function in which we receive a URL and we extract the content from the URL using CSS selectors. Over here, we have another function in which we give a URL, and we just know that when we use this tool, this function, eventually what we will get is a screenshot of the web page, and it's going to be saved to a specific path. Now, this is why using tools is so powerful, because you can just create a very long list of capabilities that are very predictable. You know exactly what you're going to put in and what you will get out. And when you use these tools in the workflow, the more tools that you're going to use, it is going to make the workflow more deterministic, because you know exactly what you're going to get. And this is very important because at the moment, as I said many times during the video, the models are not smart enough or capable enough in order to do stuff completely on their own. And this also relates to the fact that as a human being, let's say I'm a CMO of a company, my ability to articulate exactly what I want is still not good enough. So even if I tell you, let's say I tell you as an employee of mine, please create 10 creatives for me. This isn't clear enough. This isn't, you don't know exactly what I mean. What are 10 creatives? These are 10 static creatives, 10 videos, 5 videos, and 5 images. What ratio for each image? What ratio for the videos? How long should the videos be? What should be the copy? So there are many variables, and if I don't exactly tell you what I want, like in a tool, it will be very hard for you as a human being or for the agent to understand what I want. And obviously, if you put garbage in, like the prompt isn't good enough, so you will get garbage out. So the result from the workflow will not be good enough. So this is why using tools is so powerful and important. So the list of the tools that I've created, and I'm planning to add more tools as time goes by. So I've broken it down to many to different subcategories. So first of all, Gmail tools. So we can send an email. We can mark an email as read. We can mark an email as unread. We can create a draft. We can read an email, and we can delete an email. In terms of calendar tools, we have create calendar event, update calendar event. I think I also have delete calendar event. Spreadsheet tools. So we can create a spreadsheet. We can create a spreadsheet, update a spreadsheet, delete a spreadsheet, get email by name. So this is something a bit more complex that I might explain later. We have search tools. We are using Serper. Serper is a tool basically that allows you to get Google search results via API. So we can search and summarize results. We can search and email the results. We have Trello tools, which let's say Trello is the project management tools that I'm using, and it's also the project management tools that the customers that I built this workflow for is using. So we can create a board, we can create a list, we can create cards, we can move cards, we can add comments, we can add checklist items, we can mark checklist item, we can find Trello boards, we can get board IDs, etc. Beyond, we can also manipulate files in the drive. We can find drive files, we can find drive folder, we can upload files to the drive, download files from the drive, create drive folder, share, update, etc. We also have YouTube tools, so download YouTube videos, get YouTube info, which means download transcript, download thumbnail, download description, etc. And we have web automation tools, so crawling websites, scraping websites, clicking, monitoring website pages, and taking screenshots. Now, what is the flow? This flow, and this is one of the things that I created and I'm very proud of, is initiated by a Telegram bot. So I have a Telegram bot that I built. Let me see if I can pull it out. Yeah, obviously I can pull it out. Don't know if you will see it good enough. But as you can see here, you probably can't see it because it's tiny. So the conversation starts when I hit the start button. This is a specific conversation with my AG2 bot. And then I tell it exactly what I would like to achieve. So can you send a test email to Yaron Been at Gmail, subject line, YouTube video. Then it responds to me, the message was added, and it asks me if I'm done, if this is everything that I wanted. If I'm done, I'm hitting the button I'm done. If I'm not done and I want to add more instructions to the agents, I have a button here that says add context, and I can elaborate although I said the subject line would be YouTube video, please make sure to add a song in the body of the email, and also make sure to send a calendar event for tonight at 9 p.m., for example. So I can ask a list of tasks. So I can, in the same message, I can tell it, create a Trello checklist, add something to the Trello checklist, send an email, and add a calendar event. After I tell it that I'm done, it is going to initiate the Python script of the AG2. It's going to do like the whole flow, and eventually it sends an email to me with the summary, and it also sends the summary of what happened, the whole conversation actually, to my Telegram. Let me show you an example. Maybe before I show you an example, let me go over this flow and make sure that I haven't forgotten anything. So we have the Telegram bot. Oh yeah, so with the Telegram bot, I can either use the keyboard buttons in order to explain the task, or I can use a local whisper model, which basically I can send a voice message and it's going to transcribe locally exactly what I said. And after I confirm that I'm done, it's going to send the message to my agents. It's always going to add the current date and current time for the agents in the prompt. Then we are running the agent script. Then we send an email summary to myself, just because I want to know what happened, that we didn't make any mistakes, we didn't encounter any errors. Then we have the reply with the agent response to the Trello. Let's see what else. So this is the Gmail calendar. This is basically the agent. So as I said, we have different tools. We have the executor agent, which basically does all these tasks. We have the registrations of the tools, and this is the interaction workflow. So me, the user, or my customer goes to the Telegram bot. We say exactly what we want. As soon as we confirm that we are happy with the task, we send it to the two agents. We have one agent which is called human agent, which initiates the conversation. And we have the executor agent, which performs the task. As soon as the executor agent finishes the task, it says that I'm done. It actually writes I'm done. And then whenever we have I'm done in the conversation, it pauses the conversation and it sends a summary to the email and to the Telegram response. So the key point here is the Telegram bot acts as the user interface. Messages are accumulated until the user marks them as done, because sometimes I have a lot of context that I want to send to the agents. So I break it down to a few voice messages. Then the agent script starts doing everything, and the executor agents uses also the tools in order to complete the task. Okay, so I showed you the Telegram to a certain degree. Let me show you the summary. This is a summary of a run. So you can see agent run summary. The task was, can you send an email test to Yaron Been, subject line YouTube video, as I said before, that I sent it via the Telegram. So I always send time and date in the prompt, as you can see here. And this is the output that I got. Human agent to executor agent. Today is the 22 of February 2025, 9 p.m. Can you send a test email to yaronbeen@gmail.com, subject line YouTube video? Then the executor agent said, certainly, I will send a test email to Yaron Been with the subject line YouTube video. Then the human agent suggests to the executor agent to use a specific tool, which is called send email. The arguments which are sent, or the email, my actual email, and my YouTube video as a subject, as the body, this is a test email. And this is a test email is something that the agent made up. I didn't instruct it to say, which is actually one of the biggest values of the LLM. So they can create the content on their own, So this is the execution of the function, as you can see here. Never mind this is a part of like the authorization process. Then we got the response. Email was sent successfully. The test email has been sent successfully to Yaron Been. And then we have done, and this terminates the conversation. And this is the summary of the whole convo with how many tokens were sent, what were the errors, and everything is sent to me, as you can see here. And also it is being sent to me in Telegram. Now let me show you over here the function, just so you see how it looks like. So send email. So this is the Gmail tool. This is the function. So send email. This is the recipient email address. This is the email subject, and this is the email body, like you saw before. This is the service that is being used. This is just more about like the API integration and error handling. So, and there are many more tools over here. As I told you, as I showed you before, we have a bunch of tools. Okay, what else? Let's go back to the here. So we covered the Telegram. We saw the code. I mean, this is just I can show you the code in a high level. I didn't organize it. I didn't organize it yet because it's a work in progress. But as you can see, we have many tools, which I'm going to move to a different file. And we have the definition of the agents, and we have the initiation of the conversation in the end. Moving forward. So what I've learned, I think this is one of the most important aspects. So first of all, planning the project carefully is very important. Structure is key. If you've been following me and you saw my video in which I summarized 35 hours of private lessons with a coding teacher, and you also saw my videos about using an architect agent with an execution agent, you probably understand the value of just planning ahead. While I often preach about planning ahead, I don't always plan ahead, but whenever I don't plan ahead, I regret it. So this is like the first lesson is plan ahead. Think carefully exactly about what you want to do. What I did after a few iterations in which just trying to, wing it, I just created this roadmap. So as you can see, I have this roadmap file in which I ask Windsurf to update it. So we have phase 1, Trello integration, authentication and setup, board operations, list operation, card management, checklist operations, automation features, etc. Then we have phase 2, storage and document management. So Google Drive integration. We have the authentication, we have the file operations, we have the folder management, we have search and organization, sharing and collaboration, etc. Then we have the Telegram integration, which wasn't updated yet, but this is solved already. So if I think it's a very wise idea to build a roadmap and first of all plan everything and then build a roadmap and just start, how do you say, going according to the roadmap and just checking off tasks in the roadmap. Okay, so this is more relevant for non-coders, non-native coders. So understand the code written by the coding assistant. It is very easy to let Klein or WooCode or Windsurf or Cursor just start roaming freely. Basically, they are agents as well, but very often, if they start roam freely and you don't instruct it carefully and you don't validate each step, things get messy very fast and you kind of lose progress, and very often it's very discouraging and it takes a lot of time and energy to start recovering and understanding what's going on. So validate each step, and whenever there is an issue that you keep encountering a few times, pause for a second and try to figure out the theory. So don't ask the AI to solve the problem, but take a screenshot of the problem or take a screenshot of the error, go to Claude or OpenAI, don't give it context, and just paste the error and ask it, explain to me this error. Why did this error happen? What can I do in order to fix this? Because very often when there is a lot of context in the conversation with the AI coding assistant, they miss the most important stuff because there is just a huge code base and they start hallucinating or making mistakes. So very often the small tweaks that you are going to do on your own are better than the tweaks that the coding assistant is going to do, especially if it starts going back and forth with itself and doing the same error all the time. So what I often do when there is an error, I study the theory and I ask Claude or ChatGPT to create a cheat sheet for me. So here's an example of a cheat sheet that it built. I started encountering many errors and I said, okay, I don't actually really understand what do these errors mean, because I just copy and paste them to Claude or OpenAI and I expect it to fix them. So I said, okay, let's pause for a sec. I asked it to explain to me exactly what does each error mean. It explained. It also gave me an analogy. It explained to me as if I'm in 8th grade. And afterwards, I told it, okay, please create a cheat sheet. And this is the cheat sheet that it created. Now, anytime that I encounter an error, it's easier for me to understand before I immediately, like a monkey, just copy and paste. I understand what is the origin of the error. And very often, I just fix the error on my own. So this is very important, in my opinion. So another thing is, if you're stuck, try isolating the file. So one alternative is isolating the file and trying to, give it to Claude or OpenAI or a new model and try to fix this. So I've had many issues with the integration of Telegram to the AG2 conversation, and I've used only Windsurf, and then I tried moving to Claude Sonnet 3.5, wasn't able to solve it. And then I moved to OpenAI's or free, and it was able to solve this for me. So very often, different models can solve stuff for you. But before you make any major changes between models, you must understand that if you're building in a specific model, such as Sonnet, for example, very often, if you move to a different model, it will kind of build stuff that is not compatible with the initial code. So in this instance, it's very important to start using Git-based version control actions, such as branching. So again, this is mostly for non-coders. If you're not using GitHub extensively or don't know what is branching, it's very important that you do start to learn this stuff. So branching basically means making your own copy to work. Okay, so these are just explanation by OpenAI, and these are supposed to clarify all the GitHub-based actions. So branching is making your own copy to work. Basically, imagine you and your friends are working on a class project. Let's say my automation. The project is written in a shared notebook. You don't want to mess up what's already there, so you take a copy of the notebook and start writing your part. So think of this as making your own branch to work on it separately from a main project. So you have the main project of the agents. You've encountered many errors. Now you want to start using a different model to solve this. So you create a branch of the project and you use the different model to try to solve this. If the model was able to solve it, the new model, you can merge back the project and kind of overwrite what you had before. So this is merging. Merging is basically combining everyone's work. Now that everyone has written their part, you combine all the pages into one final notebook. If two people wrote about the same thing differently, you have to decide which version to keep. So you had the initial agents, you encountered many errors, you created a branch, started using O3. O3 was able to solve it, the issue with the agentic workflow. Now you make this the main project and you overwrite what you had before that was built by Claude Sonnet, for example. So this is merging. We covered what is branching. Commit is basically saving your progress. Basically, you need to commit after every modification or addition of feature, you must commit and save your progress. Otherwise, things get messy. Pushing is like submitting your changes to the main project. pretty straightforward. And pulling is like checking the shared project for new updates and adding them to your copy. So in short, branch, take your own copy to work on, commit, save changes, push, share your work with the team, pull, get the latest updates from others, and merging, combining everyone's work to the final project. Now, speaking about commits, basically whenever you save the project, whenever you commit, you also write a description of the commit, exactly what did you do. So for this, I highly recommend that you use AI in order to write the actual commits, because the AI is going to write it better than you. Let's do an example over here. So please update the roadmap. We have finished all the stuff related to Telegram. Okay, so you will see now that the AI coding assistant Windsurf is going to update this file. You can see, let me check the current roadmap and update it to reflect the completed Telegram integration. In a moment, you'll see access right over here, which is very powerful and valuable. So you can see it is analyzing, editing the file. There you go. And this was the original, and this is the new. Create Telegram bot via bot further, implement bot authentication, and I'm going to accept this. So we can see here a summary of what we've done. So bot setup and authentication, voice message processing, text message processing, task integration, user experience, security and privacy. Okay, now I want it to commit. Can you write a description for a commit for this thing that we just did? And it is going to write the description of what we did. So fit Telegram. So we added a feature, complete Telegram integration with full automation capabilities. And we can take this. And when we do a commit, whether if we do it via the terminal or if we do it via GitHub desktop, let's do it here. So we are going to commit to main. Now we are pushing to main, and we basically updated the GitHub repository in GitHub. Okay, so writing detailed commits, use AI for this. Write a roadmap, we covered this already. Next takeaway is use fuzzy search for finding things. So one of the issues that I have encountered, for example, let's say I wanted to edit a Trello board or Trello card, and let's say it was called Yaron Personal Card, but I didn't remember it was called Yaron Personal Card. I just remember that it was called Yaron Personal. So when I spoke with my Telegram, with the bot, I gave it instructions. Please update my Trello card called Yaron Card and add to the checklist over there, upload a new YouTube video. So initially it looked for Yaron Card, but it didn't find it because there is no card that is specifically called Yaron Card. It's called Yaron Trello Card, for example. So this is when I introduced fuzzy search. What does fuzzy search do? It basically looks for the most similar results. So it scans all the Trello cards, and it looks, if I said look for Yaron Card, it looks for all the results that are similar to Yaron Card, and I said if there is a similarity of 80% or more, take the first result, so the result that is the most similar. So although I said find Yaron Card, and the actual card is called Yaron Trello Card, it was able to find this. So fuzzy search is very valuable. So I added this to all the type of searches. So also for the Trello card, also for Trello boards, also for updating files in the drive. I don't remember what are the files in the drive, like what are the names of the files in the drive. So if I said let's say there is a checklist, not checklist. Let's say there is an SOP, uploading YouTube video SOP. This is the file name in the drive, but I don't remember it, the exact file name. So I said, can you please update the SOP of YouTube videos in my drive? And it found the specific file because it uses fuzzy search. So fuzzy search is very important. I highly recommend that you add it. Next lesson is reading documentation often and feed it to AI. So I encountered many hiccups and challenges when I wasn't 100% sure about the syntax of how to use AG2, because I also make very frequent updates, which is a good thing, but sometimes it's hard to stay on top of things. So just very often taking a look at the documentation. Very often you can just Control A, push all the text to Windsurf over here. Alternatively, you can do like this web and just paste the URL and tell Windsurf, this is the context. Based on this blueprint of building AI agents, build this X, Y, and Z for me. So checking out the documentation very often, feeding it to AI very often is very valuable as well. The next thing, also pretty straightforward for those of you who have been developers, test everything, every new addition in a new isolated environment. So let's say I created this thing that transcribes any messages that I send to Telegram. So instead of adding it to the code, first I created this the file in a separated Python script. Afterward, I created a test that tests many edge cases, like if the duration isn't long enough, language detection, stuff like this. After I've passed all the tests and I'm happy with the performance, only then I added this to the main Agentic file as a tool. So anything that you add, first you must create tests for this. So what I actually, let's see, so test Trello. So this was a test of making actions in Trello boards, for example. So just testing anything before you deploy it, before you move it to the main workflow. Moving forward. So my plans moving forward are just to keep on building this agent, which my plan is to build a very powerful machine that is going to reduce my workload significantly. So I have a few ideas. Content creation tools, it's going to be very easy just to automate blog creations, tweets, LinkedIn, push everything to WordPress or to the social platforms. I'm going to test what are the pluses of using group chat. I've built agentic workflows with group chats in the past, but I'm not sure if this is going to be valuable in this specific instance of building like a personal assistant agent. I'm going to integrate this agent via API to Facebook ads and Google ads in order to collect data and provide ideas about copy, create creatives, which is something that I've built in the past, but I'm just going to integrate everything into this agent. Going to connect Google Analytics, going to connect Apify, going to connect Apollo for sourcing emails, code execution abilities. I'm not sure exactly if I'm going to do this in this specific agent or not, and adding an agent critique and a QA layer. Basically, instead of sending all the results to me as soon as the agentic workflow was done, I'm going to add a layer of criticism by a different agent, which is going to criticize what the initial agent has done, and only if the critique agent is happy, I want them to conclude the conversation and send the data to me. Okay, so before we conclude, and I share with you like my biggest takeaways, again, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and leave a comment below with your feedback. Join our newsletter at nofluff.online, and if you need any help with strategizing automations in your business, mostly marketing related, or implementing automation in your business, reach out to me at yaron@nofluff.online. That's it. Let's start summarizing. So in this pretty long video, I shared with you my impressions from building an AG2 agent, personal assistant agent that is integrated to Telegram. This agent is connected via API to many platforms, and it is using tool calling in order to provide precise and accurate results based on my requirements. I shared with you learnings about how I believe that AI agentic workflows should be built. I wouldn't call them best practices, but my takeaways from building this project from I wouldn't say A to Z, but almost, let's say A to V, just randomly deciding A to V. I also shared with you misconceptions about agents that I think is very important to understand and have clear expectations regarding what is an automation and what is an agentic workflow and what to expect from these agents. And I also shared with you a few tips about how you can use Windsurf and AI in any coding or workflow automation process. I guess that's pretty much it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it valuable. If you did, obviously like and subscribe. Leave your feedback below, and until next time, keep on automating.